In the furthest corner of western Rioja, along the borders of the provinces of Burgos and Álava, lies an extensive wine region, whose capital city is Haro. In this historical frontier territory, the Ebro River branches out through the chalky hills of the Obarenes Mountains, forming beautiful riverside vegetation and river bends. At the foot of the range, the relief undergoes a rapid descent in the direction of the valley of the Ebro River. The waters of the Ebro, the Oja, and the Tirón rivers bathe the municipality of Haro, creating a unique river shoreline of poplar groves, such as Conchas de Haro. Haro, the capital of this part of Rioja, whose major economic and industrial activities are its vineyard and wine industries. To this extent, local wineries and supporting services provide work for most of its population. It's no wonder that Haro is the capital of Rioja wines. The traditional Estación neighborhood, located on the outskirts of Haro, is the historic settlement of one of the most prestigious wines of La Rioja. The Muga winery's installations are located here, a rooted wine tradition whose dynasty began in 1932 under Don Isaac Muga Martinez and Aurora Caño Rojo. Prior to this date, Jorge Caño was the founding wine merchant of the Rioja Alta Harvesters Society back in 1890. Four generations of harvesters have passed since Antonio and Baltasar Muga were honored in Madrid in 1870 at the International Winemaking Awards ceremony. Today, the family continues to produce their wines based on their commitment to quality. This tradition continues to be respected by the younger generations, heirs to the family's experience, know-how, and honesty in winemaking. An extension of the winery, inaugurated in 1971 by the founder's sons, today hosts in its interior winemaking processes that remain faithful to the most traditional wines of Rioja. In order to know each step of the process of winemaking at Muga wineries, the most important aspects start with the efforts and care that each vineyard requires to obtain only the highest quality of raw materials. From January to March, wine growers at Muga wineries carry out their first task, winter pruning. This consists of cutting the excessive vine shoots, leaving sufficient inches for optimum development of the grapevine, while giving preference to the grape's quality over quality. Pruning provides a longer life for vine shoots, as well as a means of guaranteeing better distribution of grape clusters, optimizing ventilation and the amount of sunshine needed. After pruning, sweeper machines collect and grind the vine shoots. The shredded vine mixes in with soil and manure, producing quality and balanced compost that fertilizes the vineyard's natural biological cycle. Muga vineyards only use organic fertilizer. The compost mix in the soil has all the nutrients needed, which guarantees the proper development of the grapevines. Once the organic material is scattered, plows then mix it in with the soil, improving conditions for the highest quality grape. Muga wineries are well aware that the quality of their wine is appreciated from the reputation of their vineyards. Therefore, only if top quality raw materials used can the best wines be produced. Efforts are concentrated on selecting quality vine clones for new plants, always avoiding homogeneous vine production, which tends to lose the varietal character and genetic diversity of a vineyard. When spring arrives, and after the weeping of the vine, the sprouting of the vine shoots takes place. Thanks to the professionalism and techniques our wine growers use in prior steps, the grapevines produce healthy and vigorous blossom shoots that grow to their fullest vegetation. In springtime, Muga wineries carry out destemming, when excess buds are removed from the stems of the vines, as well as the vine shoots. This eliminates competition amongst the last sprouts from the grapes. This procedure also guarantees favorable ventilation and sun exposure of the grape clusters. By doing so, vine diseases are avoided, thus favoring the maturity of plants under improved conditions of sun and air exposure. Little by little, as summer approaches, this improved climate supports the slow but continued development of grape clusters. Following Muga's philosophy of maximum quality and respect for the environment, minimal use of pesticides to prevent diseases and pests are assured. For the last few years, new systems and tools have been incorporated to obtain more precise controls while respecting the environment. The slow ripening of the berry takes place during summertime. This is known as the anvero, the changing of the color of the grape. This is a rapid phase in which the grapevine's growth stops and focuses on the nutrition of the fruit. During this period, the green harvest begins in Muga vineyards. This most delicate operation is not common amongst other vineyards, and the precise moment chosen varies according to each vineyard. The vigor of the vineyard and climate conditions dictate if harvesting should occur sooner or later. Muga Vineyards uses the most advanced techniques available to determine the optimal timing of maturation. The wine growers at Muga wineries cut the grape clusters at the top of the vine branches, leaving the lower branches to reach their full phenolic maturation. At Muga Vineyards, quality of their grapes is always a priority over quantity. When the grape clusters have reached full maturity, then the harvest begins. This task must be done quickly, in the shortest possible time, to assure that the grape clusters collected are in their prime state of maturity. At Muga wineries, the harvest is done by hand. Vineyard workers check each vine one by one, selecting grape clusters that are in the best condition. Harvesting at night in Muga is also differentiated by its manual process, selecting a specific variety of very aromatic white grapes to preserve all of the wine's qualities. In addition, the grapes are transported in refrigerated trucks from the vine to the winery, so as to maintain a constant temperature and thus extract the best possible fruit. The grapes selected for vintage and reserve wines are collected and transported to the winery in refrigerated trucks under optimal conditions. Upon arrival to the winery, the content is weighed and samples are taken to determine the important characteristics of the grapes, such as the degree of sugar and its acidity. Depending on this quality analysis and evaluation, the fruit is then separated into various vats according to the grape's potential. Grape clusters harvested for Torre Muga and Prado Enea wines are gathered in boxes to prevent any damaging and to assist in the subsequent inspection and selection on the conveyor belt. This eliminates clusters that have any irregularities. After passing through the selection process, the clusters pass through mechanical crushers that separate the stems from the fruit. The mixture of the unfermented grape juice and the remaining pulp is stored in large vats where natural fermentation begins. In the vats, tumultuous fermentation takes place, a natural process in which the grape sugar is transformed slowly into alcohol. The soaking of the unfermented grape juice with the skins allows for the liquid to absorb substances that provide the color, the aroma, and the character of the wines. During fermentation, the technique of remontado or pumping is carried out. This consists of taking the unfermented grape juice from the bottom of the vats to later pour it on top. This way, a homogenization of liquid contributes to a better fermentation and the removal of certain ingredients of the grape. At the end of the first fermentation, the wines are transferred to casks. Here the wine begins the slow process of decantation, where impurities are separated out. Inside the vats where fermentation has taken place, only pulp remains. This is extracted with long pitchforks and collected in baskets. The baskets filled with the grape skins are transported to the presses. There, they're placed under piston pumps, and slowly, part of the wine is extracted. Once the vat has been emptied, the lid is shut, and the container lays still and proceeds with its cleansing. The fermentation of white wines has its own significant traits. To obtain the maximum fruity flavor of white wine, a small amount of selected grapes are placed in newly made French oak casks. At Muga wineries, a landmark process known as batonnage is carried out. White wines, as well as with the reds, ferment in the new casks. Twice a week and over a period of 4 months, the wine lees are stirred around in order for them to mix with the wine. This provides a touch of quality oak that mixes together with the fresh fruit. Thus, an explosion of sensations is found in every glass. Thanks to the crystal lid of the barrel, red wines carry out malolactic fermentation with no risk of having any air alter its evolution. This ancient mechanism dates back to more than 150 years and permits CO2 gas produced during this process to escape. Following Muga's tradition and all its procedures, each year expert barrel makers travel to France to select trunks at the mystical forests of Tronchet or Allier to ensure the provenance and quality of oak used in the production of wine barrels. This wood is considered the most elegant and best quality oak in the world. Experts are present at the logging and the marking of the logs, before they're transported back to Spain. This identification ritual of barrel making is unique to Muga. Like everything done at Muga, this process is always environmentally friendly. Muga experts travel to the French sawmills to receive the oak trunks. They supervise the production of the planks just purchased, selecting only the finest quality wood. The expert barrel makers at Muga supervise each and every oak plank used to make barrels or vats. The freshly cut oak is transported from the forest to the winery. They are placed in outside dryers so that both the sun and the rain ultimately assist in obtaining perfectly treated wood. This contributes to the inherent wine refining properties that the wood adds to the wine. Depending on the type of oak, this procedure can last from 2 to 3 years. The following step is the production of the barrels. The two major processes include taming and toasting of oak planks. This consists of bending the wooden racks so that they obtain their shape. This is a very delicate procedure in which the experience of the barrel makers makes the difference. Toasting consists of applying heat inside the barrel, which is covered by a steel plate, thus concentrating the heat. Some components of the wood have considerable influence on the quality of the wine. The production and conservation of wine is carried out in 16,000-liter barrel tanks or vats. It's amazing enough that the wine cellar is built entirely out of oak. Even more surprising is the fact that the vats and barrels are manufactured in-house. Muga wineries have 6 master vat and barrel makers that produce their own wine barrels, thus keeping the tradition alive. At Muga wineries during the aging period in barrels, our red wine undergoes a decanting process every 4th month. This traditional method requires that the wine flow from one barrel to another through a pipe, always by gravity, and thus avoiding a more aggressive pumping method. At the same time, a candle is lit to behold the brilliance and the clarity of the wine. The decanting's objective is to eliminate solid materials contained in the wine and slowly oxygenate the wine. This has a prominent influence in the subsequent storing of the wine in its bottle. Once the barrels are empty, they are thoroughly and automatically washed by machines that inject vapor and pressurized hot water and later cool water. Any remaining liquid is emptied to assure that the barrels remain as dry as possible. In the dark interiors of the barrel, the wine continues its natural process of reposing the time required for the aging desired. A month before Muga bottles its wines, a traditional method of filtering with egg whites takes place. This unique procedure is one that few wineries follow. The wine producers separate very patiently, one by one, the egg whites from the yolks. The proportion is 2 to 3 egg whites per hectoliter of wine. A bit of salt is added to the egg whites, which are then beaten and mixed in with a bit of wine, and then poured into the vats. This filtering method obtains after 30 days the cleansing of any impurities or small solid materials that remain in the wine. This gives the wine both a shiny as well as toned down character to it. There are many different filtering methods, yet without doubt, this respects the wine the most. Just as Muga experts travel to France to supervise the selection of oak for their casks, in Portugal they supervise the choice of natural corks that seal their bottles. Full bottles pass directly through a cork sealing machine, where they are sealed with natural cork, preserving all the qualities of the wine. The bottles then rest at the Muga winery cellars for a period of 1 to 4 years before reaching the market. Thousands of people every year show an interest in learning about Muga wines. For this reason, the winery set up Espacio Torre Muga, a recreational and learning center themed around winemaking. This building includes a wine bar, a wine tasting area, a conference room equipped with audiovisual equipment, and a dining room. At Muga, one can enjoy visiting the winery or the vineyards, take part in wine tasting sessions or courses, have a meal, or travel in a hot air balloon. Visitors may learn about the secrets of producing Muga wines and discover the different aromas, the textures, the tastes. Muga Wineries offers a wide variety of wines, a unique experience in each and every distinct bottle. Muga, tradition and vanguard.